What is up, everybody? It is Drew, Travel with the Burning Abyss here, and today I'm going to be doing a Salamangreat combo video for basically I guess we'll call it the September ban list plus new support. Yeah, this deck is actually pretty crazy now. I actually like it. It's a lot of fun to play, and I mean, the last time I played in a regional was actually November 2019, and I played Salad and I got 4th place. So, I mean, that was almost 4 years ago now. And now we get more support, and Gazelle is back to 3, so we can't complain much. But let's go ahead and jump on into some combos so I can show you how to pilot this deck the way that it can be piloted now. All right, so we're gonna start off with one of the coolest plays that I've seen recently on a few different platforms, and it's how to OTK with just Salamangreat of Fire. There is an OTK line you can get, and I'm gonna show it to you. So you normal the Fire, and you get the effect, and you grab Gazelle. You then link Fire for Balinks. Balinks will be Chainlink 1, Gazelle will be Chainlink 2. So that summons from hand, and then we get to grab copy of Sanctuary. From here, Gazelle will trigger to dump. You're going to send Spinny, and after that, you're going to use the effect of Spinny to summon itself. You can overlay here for Stalio, activate the effect of Stalio to summon from deck. Copy of Jaguar. So now we got Jaguar on field. From here, you can link the Balinks and the Jaguar for a Sunlight Wolf. You're going to use Jaguar to summon by shuffling back the Balinks. That'll trigger the Sunlight Wolf to add back the Gazelle. You're then going to link the Jaguar for Balinks, and then you can go for link 4 here. Now, you can get the effect of Stalio to bounce one of their monsters, which is pretty cool. And you know, they just have to have one on board in attack position to push for the OTK. So from here, you're going to go Sanctuary, and then you will do the Reincarnation link here for the other Raging Phoenix. Its effect will trigger to add, and you're going to add Will of the Salamangreat, which is basically our soul charge. Then you're going to activate Will, and you're going to use its effect to summon back 1, 2, 3, and 4 from your graveyard. From here, you can link 2 off for Pit Knight early, and then you'll link the other 2 off for Proxy F Magician. And then you use the effect to attempt to fusion summon. You chain the early to make one of their monsters effects negated, and its attack drops to 0. And then you use the proxy and the Raging Phoenix to summon the Chimera here. You could summon it wherever. Maybe next to the early isn't the best idea. You could summon it wherever else. That way you have another link zone open. But then this is going to gain stats on summon, so it's going to gain 28 plus 14, which is 42, and you cut that in half, so it gains 2100 attack. And when it attacks a monster whose stats are different than its originals, you basically double its attack. So it's going to be an OTK because it's gaining 21, which puts it to 49. Now double 49, you're going to be at like 98. So yeah, that's an OTK just with Fire, which I think is really, really crazy to be able to pull off. And you don't have to worry about being locked into Fires because early and Proxy are both Fire monsters. So you don't even have to worry about like an access code line, which is even better. All right, so now I've got a turn 1 opener with just Fire, which is pretty good. You summon Fire, get the effect to add Gazelle. Then you link for the Balinks, Balinks 1, Gazelle 2, that summons, and then we search, and then Gazelle effect to dump Spinny. From here you go Spinny effect, summon, and you overlay for Stalio, and you go Stalio effect, and you can summon Jaguar, and you're going to link for a Sunlight Wolf. Then Jaguar effect, shuffle the Balinks. This should look familiar from the first combo. Sunlight Wolf will add this back to hand. and you can link for another Balinx, and then we're going to go link 4 for Raging Phoenix, and then you go Sanctuary, reincarnate, link summon for your second Raging Phoenix, and then the Raging Phoenix's effect will trigger, which you can choose whether you want to grab Rage or Roar, whichever one you want. If you have one already, obviously grab the other one, but you just grab one of these, add it to your hand, you set it, and you're good. So just fire alone ends you on the Raging Phoenix with one of your traps, and Sanctuary plus Gazelle for the follow-up, which is pretty nice. If you're not playing against something that, you know, relies on the graveyard, then Rage might be better because popping 4 is really, really good. But if you are playing against something that does kind of rely on the graveyard, maybe Roar is better to negate graveyard effects. So yeah, that's basically combo number 2. Now this combo, there's a couple different ways to go about it. For me personally, I'm going to show you my favorite way to do this because I feel that it nets more advantage in the long game. So you normal Spinny and you link it off for Balinx, and then your Balinx is Chainlink 1, Gazelle is Chainlink 2. It's very important that you specifically open Spinny and Gazelle in this combo. You add Sanctuary, and then Gazelle's effect triggers to dump Roar from deck to grave. You're then going to use Spinny's effect to revive itself. From here, you're going to link and go into Splash Mage. Splash Mage's effect will revive Gazelle. You then overlay the 2 for your Stalio. Stalio's effect will summon from deck a copy of Weasel. So Weasel is now on the board. You're going to link Weasel for Balinx. The effect of Weasel will then trigger to give our opponent the copy of Gazelle. So our opponent has that now. Weasel goes to the bottom. I don't know if I shuffled this, so I'm just going to mix it. And then we get to draw a card. Maybe it'll be useful, maybe it won't. But it's a Foxy. We'll just say it's a blank card. So this is the position that we're currently in. From here, you're going to link the Balinx and the Splash Mage for a Heat Soul. You're going to pay 1,000 off Heat Soul, draw another card, which once again, we're just going to say it's a blank. And then after that, you can link your Heat Soul and your Stalio for Raging Phoenix. Stalio's effect will bounce Gazelle back to your hand. Then you're going to activate Sanctuary, reincarnate for another Raging Phoenix. Chainlink 1 Raging Phoenix to search, and Chainlink 2 Roar to set itself. So that's now set. And you get to add Rage. So you then set the Rage, and you would pass your turn, which leaves you on Roar, Rage, Gazelle in hand, plus 2 blanks. In my scenario, obviously I didn't draw anything fantastic, but it's very important to note that this way of doing it does net you the draw 2, which could be hand traps. Obviously drawing hand traps is really, really good and really important for this deck. So to me, it's a fantastic line to go down. There is a way to do the combo where you don't do the whole Splash Mage version. I think that you should probably always do the Splash Mage version because drawing more cards seems a whole lot better. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's how you do it with Splash Mage. I'm not going to show how to do it without because I don't think it's worth that. All right, so this is a Gazelle 1 card combo. So you normal Gazelle and you get the effect to dump Spinny, and Spinny comes back. You overlay right into Stalio. Stalio effect, attach the Gazelle, and you summon a fire. Fire effect triggers to add Weasel. Then you link for Balinx and get the Balinx to search for a Sanctuary. So Weasel, I'm going to bring this up here so you can see it. Hopefully it focuses in. Just so you can read it, it says if you have 2 more Salamangreat monsters in your graveyard, you could special summon this card from your hand. So that's what we're doing now, is we're going Weasel. So Weasel is now on the board. You're going to link Weasel for a Balinx. Weasel's effect will trigger targeting the Gazelle. So our opponent gets Gazelle, Weasel goes to the bottom, and we draw a blank card. From here, you're going to link Stalio and Balinx for a Sunlight Wolf. That'll trigger the Stalio to bounce the Gazelle to hand. Now you're going to link the Sunlight and the Balinx for your Heat Leo. That'll trigger Gazelle, which we have not used his hand effect yet. We've only used his dump effect from when we normal summoned him. So Gazelle hits the board. Now you reincarnate for Raging Phoenix, or I'm sorry, you summon Raging Phoenix, then you activate Sanctuary, and then you reincarnate for another Raging Phoenix, which will then search you, like I said earlier in one of the other combos, you search either Rage or Roar, whatever you need, but you do get the draw in this combo off of Weasel too, which is pretty nice. You have Balinx to block a destruction. You do have a Spinny Engrave for follow-up, so, and obviously that's just Gazelle. You should have 4 other cards in your opening hand, which is also pretty darn sweet. So that is that combo, and I think that one's not too bad. You just grab whatever you need, and then, you know, whatever one you don't need just stays in your deck. So yeah, pretty cool combo. All right, so this is kind of like very bottom of the barrel combo, but I feel like it should be shown because, like, if you're watching a combo video, you probably want to see as many things as possible, and I figure I should probably deliver on that. That way everyone isn't like lost if something pops up that they don't understand. But if you open up just Jack Jaguar, which means you should have like a bunch of hand traps or whatever in your hand, you normal the Jaguar, and then you link it for a Balinx. Balinx triggers to grab you a Sanctuary. You're going to activate the Sanctuary. You'll reincarnate the Balinx for another Balinx. Then you can Jaguar, shuffle Balinx back to summon itself. And then you can link those off for a Splash Mage. Splash Mage revives the Jack Jaguar. Then you link those for Heat Soul. You pay 1,000 to draw a card. And then during your opponent's turn, you can pay 1,000 to draw another card. So you get 2 there, and you should have another 4 cards in your hand. So you should be ending on, you know, basically 6 cards, which is pretty darn powerful because of the amount of hand traps that you play. I said this is kind of bottom of the barrel because you're not like getting a lot out of this unless you have a lot of hand traps. Which if you draw a bunch of hand traps and everything, then you should be able to survive the turn, hopefully. And then, you know, you just kind of hope that your follow-up is, you know, enough to put game on board. All right, so I figure if I do all these, you know, combo tutorials, I should do some test hands. So I'm going to do a few of those so you can kind of see what goes through my mind when I am testing this. There's 5 cards. Opening it up, we have Spinny, Foxy, Imperm, Talents, and Mining. This is pretty good. I would probably start with the Mining and pitch the Foxy. That just seems like the proper thing to do, because then we just combo. Grab your Gazelle. From here, you're going to normal the Spinny. You could theoretically special the Gazelle after you do the Mining, but you don't have to. It's not like a necessity at all. So you now link for Balinx, Balinx 1, Gazelle 2. Gazelle hits the field, and then we grab Sanctuary. Gazelle effect will dump Roar to grave. Then we do Spinny effect to summon itself. And this is the Spinny Gazelle combo that I showed you. So you link Balinx and Gazelle for Splash Mage. Splash Mage revives your Gazelle. You overlay for Stalio. Stalio effect. You can then summon Weasel. And then you can link the Weasel off for a Balinx. That'll trigger Weasel's effect. I don't know if I shuffled this, but I'm going to, because it is a test hand, so it actually does matter. So that gets shuffled. The Weasel goes to the bottom. Our opponent gets the Gazelle. We draw a card, which is an Ash. Beautiful. Then we link the Splash Mage and the Balinx off for Heat Soul. We pay 1,000 to draw a card. Fire, okay, cool, whatever, it's follow-up. And then we link these off. For Raging Phoenix, that'll trigger the Stalio to bounce our Gazelle back to our hand from our opponent's side of the field. Then you activate Sanctuary, you reincarnate for Raging Phoenix, Chainlink 1, and then Roar Chainlink 2. So that sets itself, and then we get to search for Rage. And from here, you can literally set Rage and Imperm, and you could pass your turn. So what we have is Roar, Rage, Imperm with an Ash in hand, a Gazelle in hand, a Fire in hand, and a Talent in hand. That's actually really, really good because we also have the Spinny and the Foxy in graveyard for follow-up. Because on our next turn we could normal Fire and search like Jaguar, and then you can, you know, pitch the Jaguar to summon back the Foxy, all that kind of stuff. So that's actually pretty insane. That's really, really insane. That's a good test stand. I don't think I'm going to cut the video here, so if you want to fast forward a few seconds while I just kind of gather this stuff up and reshuffle, go for it, because I think it's better to just kind of show how this functions all in one go. But all right, now let's go ahead and just shuffle real quick, and we will get right back into things. Yeah, that was a really, really good opening hand. That was, you know, our Spinny Gazelle combo that ended on, you know, a pop 4, an Omni negate, a monster negate, and we had an Ash in hand. That's that should be game pretty much every single time, you know. All right, that's all shuffled. Let's go ahead and grab 5 more. Let's see, Fire, Foxy, Signet, Rage, Circle. This is really, really good. There's a lot that can be done with this hand, which is nice. You kind of have to decide which route you're going to go with it. So one of the things that I think is important is that if you open up Circle and Signet, you should always Signet first. So in this case, it's okay to discard Rage because you can get it back with Sunlight Wolf. There's a lot of things that you can do with this hand. Like, you can really push hard, and you could end up netting a huge board with a lot of resources. Because the thing is, if you discard Foxy or Fire off of the Signet, it kind of takes away from what I want to go for here. So in this scenario, I'm going to pitch the Rage, which should theoretically be fine. And I'm going to grab Buffalo. Now, the reason that we Signet first is because, now there are 2 ways of doing this. We Signet first because then if they activate Droll on res, you can chain Circle. The other way around it is during your draw phase, you can activate Circle. You have both of those options. So keep that in mind. You could do either way to play around Droll. But we're going to assume that that's not even the case. Activate Circle, and Circle will search for Gazelle. Now, the reason that I grab Buffalo off of mining is because it just gets me more cards, which to me is something that I value. So I normal the Buffalo and I link it for Baylinks. Buffalo 1 and Baylinks 2, I get to grab a copy of Sanctuary. So now I've got Sanctuary in hand, and from here I'm actually going to discard the Foxy, which will let us draw 2 cards. We draw Weasel and Fire, which is perfect. Because we discarded the Foxy, we will get to activate Gazelle. So Gazelle will hit the board, and we get the effect of Gazelle to dump. I'm still going to send Roar here because we're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff with it. From here, you can activate a copy of Sanctuary, and I'm actually going to discard 1 Fire to summon back the Foxy, because you don't need both Fire in hand, obviously. It doesn't make sense to do that. From here, we could special summon the Weasel, because we have... Oh, no, we can't. We don't have 2 Salads in grave. Never mind. We're going to overlay for Stalio. Stalio's effect will summon from deck. I'm going to grab Jaguar. I think that Jaguar is probably the best option. Then I'm going to special the Weasel from hand, because now we do have the 2 Salad monsters in grave here. Then you can link this off for a copy of Balinx. The Balinx summon will then trigger the Weasel, so Weasel will go to the bottom. Our opponent gets Gazelle. I'm just gonna shuffle that, put it on top of the Weasel, and draw a card. We draw Crow. Cool. From here, you can do a couple different things. What I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna link the Stalio and the Balinx for a Sunlight Wolf, and that'll trigger the Stalio to bounce the Gazelle back to hand, which is pretty good. From here, because we do have the Jaguar on board, I know this is like, you know, it seems odd, but it works. You link those off for another Sunlight Wolf, which then you can activate the effect of Roar here, so Roar would set itself, and then you can use Sunlight Wolf, and you can grab back either Circle or Rage. I'm going to grab back Rage with its own effect, and then you can Jack Jaguar. You kind of pick what you want to shuffle back. I'm going to shuffle back the Stalio just because you only play one. When that happens, you would then trigger the effect of Sunlight Wolf. In my personal opinion, grabbing Buffalo out of what you have in graveyard is the best choice, because it gives you a lot of follow-up on your next turn. And then from here, you can go link 4 for Raging Phoenix, and then you can reincarnate, because the Sunlight Wolf, you used a Sunlight Wolf and a Jaguar. You didn't use the Sanctuary. So now we reincarnate for a Raging Phoenix. Now this is what we have in grave, and then we trigger the Raging Phoenix to search. In this scenario, it's kind of up to you what you want to grab. If you want to grab Will, grab Will. If you want to grab another Circle, grab another Circle. You do have Circle and grave, but if you want to be like protected from monster effects, it may not be a bad idea to grab this. If you feel like you don't have enough follow-up, then grab Will, but we have Buffalo, Gazelle, and we have Fire. So I'm going to grab Circle, because I think that Circle is probably the better choice. And from there, you would set your Rage in your Circle, and you would pass. And what that ends you on is you have a Jaguar and a Foxy in your graveyard, which is good. You have Omni Negate, Pop 4, Protect from monster effects, and you also have a DD Crow in hand, plus your follow-up of Fire, Gazelle, and Buffalo. That's actually a really, really good hand. That's crazy how much you can really push with hands like that. I'm going to go ahead and do this again. I feel that showing a bunch of these test hands is probably the best thing that I can do, because it's going to show people really how good this deck can be. I mean, it could obviously lose to anything. This meta is really pretty open. I was watching a good chunk of YCS Dortmund today, and like seeing the amount of diversity is really amazing. It kind of is like, all right, well, what deck is the best deck? It's like, oh, well, we really don't know. Obviously Unchained is really good and is seeing the most representation, but they only have like 11% representation, which is not a lot for, you know, a big event like that. But here we go, 5 cards. This is obviously busted. I don't have to go over that. Normal Fire effect. Grab Gazelle. Link for Balinx. Balinx 1, Gazelle 2. That hits the board. Grab Sanctuary. Effective Gazelle to dump. Send Roar. Activate Spinny in hand, discard to boost one of these, and then Spinny effect and grave summon itself. We are locked into fires here, so this is where this changes. I just want everybody to know that. You then overlay for Stalio. You go effect. And in this scenario, if you summon out Weasel here, it's not as good. I mean, and the thing is, we drew the Jaguar, which is like the tough part, but there is a way to make this hand work still. So if we summon out Weasel, we're gonna run into an issue where we don't really hit the link 4. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna summon Foxy, and After I summon the Foxy, I'm going to link it with the Balinks for a Sunlight Wolf. And then you can activate Sanctuary here, and you can use Foxy to pitch the Jaguar, summon this. Sunlight Wolf will trigger to add back your Gazelle. At this point, what you can do is you can do like you could do multiple things. So I'm going to explain this to the best of my ability, that way everybody understands. You can link these two together and you can make another Sunlight Wolf, which does not make sense. So what you do is you link these off for a Heat Leo. I'm sorry, you do. I'm sorry, I said Sunlight Wolf. I meant Heat Leo. You can go into the Sunlight Wolf here, and what you do is then you would use Jack Jaguar to shuffle back the Sunlight Wolf. And then from here, you're going to go link 4. Sorry for wording that weirdly. That was poor explaining on my part. From here, you're going to reincarnate with the field spell for the other Raging Phoenix. Phoenix 1, Roar 2, so the Roar sets itself, and then you get to add the Rage. So now we have Rage in hand. You would set the Rage, and you would pass, and this is going to be crazy because you've got Pop 4, Omni Negate, and Banish 2 from Grave with follow-up off of Gazelle, and you also have the Jaguar, Spinny, and Foxy all in Grave. So yeah, that's that's actually really good. So let's go ahead and do another test hand because I do want to show at least one more. Now, the other thing that I want to state too is that I could sit here all day and do test hands with this deck and not get bored. But I don't want to waste everybody's time for that long. So I know that I'm approaching 15 minutes worth of test hands. So after this one, I may call it at that because I feel like that does explain everything that needs to be explained. All right, I'm just going to shuffle this up a little bit more. But yeah, this deck is fantastic. One of my favorite decks of all time. I would definitely put it within the top 5 decks that I love the most, for sure. But there's our 5. For the last test hand, how do we open? We open extremely well, of course. So we can go Circle, grab Gazelle, which is sweet. And then this is literally like just your bread and butter combo. I mean, you could extend further with Foxy, because if you normal the Foxy here, you use the effect to excavate 3 and we hit a Rage. That's exactly why we do that. Wow, 2 Gazelle and a Rage. That's an insane reveal. That's insane, because if you didn't have the Gazelle, now you've got the Gazelle, which is crazy. But we're gonna add the Rage, shuffle this up. All right, link for Balinks. Balinks 1, Gazelle 2. Now we get to add our Sanctuary here. The Gazelle effect will then trigger to dump. You're going to send your Roar here. So Roar goes to the graveyard. From here, you can do one of 2 things. You could summon back the Foxy if you wanted to. You don't have to. So what I would do is I would use Spinny effect, because like you could activate Sanctuary and then you would pitch to Spinny to summon the Foxy, but I don't see a reason in doing that. It doesn't make sense to do that here. We're just going to use the effect of Spinny discarding itself and then Spinny effect summon. We can then link for a Splash Mage. Splash Mage effect, revive the Gazelle. Overlay for Stalio. Stalio effect, detach. From here, we do summon. You could theoretically summon Fire. I mean, you kind of just go for Weasel here. That's really like what you go for. But there is a world where you could summon Fire. I just don't live in that world. You link the Weasel for Balinks. That triggers the Weasel. So they get Gazelle. I'm going to shuffle this again. Give that a couple cuts. The weasel goes on bottom. We draw a card, which is spinny. All right, doesn't do much, but whatever. From here, you can link these for Heat Leo. Pay 1,000 to draw a card. We draw Buffalo. Also doesn't do much, but that's okay. Then we link 4 into Raging Phoenix. That triggers Stalio to bounce the Gazelle back. And then we activate Sanctuary. We reincarnate for Raging Phoenix. Raging Phoenix 1 and Roar 2 set itself. And then we get the search. We already have Rage, so from here you determine whether you want to add Will or you want to grab Circle. That's kind of your choice as far as what you want to do here. For me personally, like I talked about, adding Will or adding Circle is really good because it avoids any kind of impact by your opponent's monsters effects on your Link 4, which is really good. And we're still ending with, you know, an Omni, a Pop 4 protection, and a Crow in hand. So I mean, that's really not that bad. And we have 5 cards for follow-up, so going first technically with a hand like this, you already have 5 cards in your hand to end, plus another 5 cards on the field. This is technically what we would consider a +5, which is fantastic. So yeah, that pretty much does it for the combo video and test hands. I'm sure there are a bunch of other ways you can go about a lot of these combos and a lot of these test hands. I'm just showing you how I would personally play them out. You can do whatever you want. It's totally on you. I could probably change these combos up and do them completely differently too, but I like the way that they function. It plays out fairly well. If you guys want to see a deck profile for this, I might be able to post one within the next couple of weeks. That way I can kind of, you know, talk about my thoughts and opinions on how the deck should be played. Obviously, they are my thoughts and opinions. Everybody has different thoughts and opinions. But if you want to see that, give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Share the video with your friends. Tell them to subscribe to my channel too. And for right now, this is Drew, Traveler Liberating Abyss, signing out.